low, and that both households' perceptions of job availability and firm perceptions of hiring difficulty continue to decline. The official report on the labor market for September, the most recent release, showed that the unemployment rate continued to edge up, reaching 4.4%, and that job gains had slowed significantly since earlier in the year. A good part of the slowing likely reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. In this less dynamic and somewhat softer labor market, the downside risks to
honestly, I had almost given up. Alone at 55, and everyone I know.
Got one person, wait for more people to come in.
Came across a lot of.
Thanks for hitting the like button.
Got one person, wait for more people to come in.
Came across a lot of.
What is going on, everybody? It's FOMC is live. Let me get the chat up right quick. Got 7 people in the live chat. Taking a look at the markets right now. All right, we got Bitcoin is holding at, Bitcoin is at 92,000 roughly. Let's see here. FOMC is live. Let's get ready.
Have declined from their peaks earlier in the year, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Most measures of longer-term expectations.
Welcome to the channel. Let's see what happens with the crypto market.
The median projection in the S&P for total PCE inflation is 2.9% this year, and 2.9%.
You can hit the like button as you come in.
A bit lower than the median projection in September. Thereafter, the median falls to 2%.
Okay, you just mentioned JYAI.
Employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to lower the target range of the federal funds rate by a quarter percentage point to 3.5 to 3.75%.
Let's take a look at Jerry.
In the near term,
I'm not really talking about any individual cryptos right now. We're just looking at the whole market.
risks to employment to the downside, a challenging situation.
It's at, let me see, it's at 4031. But I'm not talking about different altcoins right now. I'll drop a video when I get a chance. We're looking at the whole crypto market right now.
Effectively a one-time shift in the price level. Our obligation is to make sure that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation problem. But
Let's see here.
employment having risen,
I'm watching it live.
the balance of risks has shifted. Our framework calls for us to take a balanced approach in promoting both sides of our dual mandate. Accordingly, we judged it appropriate at this meeting to lower our policy rate by a quarter percentage point. With today's decision, we have lowered our policy rate 0.75 of a percentage point over our last 3 meetings. This further normalization of our policy stance should help stabilize the labor market while allowing inflation to resume its downward trend toward 2% once the effects of tariffs have passed through. The adjustments to our policy stance since September bring it.
It looked like we're going to get a small cut. Look like there's going to be a small cut.
Positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. In our summary of economic projections, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path of the federal funds rate under what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario for the economy. The median participant.
Yeah. There's going to be a small rate cut.
3.4% at the end of 2026 and 3.1% at the end of 2027, unchanged from September. As is always the case,
Bitcoin is slightly up right now.
Are subject to uncertainty, and they're not a committee plan or decision.
Right now, Bitcoin is slightly up. We got Bitcoin at
We will make our decisions
93.
by meeting.
It's up 0.02% in a 1 hour.
Turn now to issues
Ethereum is almost back up to almost up to 3,400.
These issues are separate from and have no implications for the stance of monetary policy. In light of the continued tightening in money market interest rates relative to our administered rates and other indicators of reserve market conditions, the committee judged that reserve balances have declined to ample levels. Accordingly,
Yeah, I guess I can kind of agree with that. Nothing big is going to happen until 2026.
Treasury securities, mainly Treasury
Yeah,
for the sole purpose of maintaining an ample supply
Yeah.
over time.
that could be. I believe 2026 is going to be a lot more going on.
But the federal funds rate remains within its target range and are necessary because the growth of the economy leads to rising demand over time for our liabilities, including currency and reserves. As detailed in a statement released today by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, reserve management purchases will amount to $40 billion in the first month and may remain elevated for a few
Take a look at
months to alleviate expected near-term pressures in money markets. Thereafter, we expect the size of reserve management purchases to decline, though the actual pace will depend on market conditions. In our implementation framework, an ample supply of reserves means that the federal funds rate and other short-term interest rates are primarily controlled by the setting of our administered rates, rather than day-to-day discretionary interventions in money markets. In this regime, the standing repurchase agreement, or repo operations, are a critical tool to ensure that the federal funds rate remains within its target range, even on days of elevated pressures in money markets. Consistent with this view, the committee...
I'm doing good. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming in.
repo operations.
Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button.
To support policy implementation and smooth market functioning, and should be used when economically sensible. To conclude, the Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing our inflation sustainably down to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations.
See
low.
here.
Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. At the Fed, we will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Howard Schneider with Reuters. Just first turning to the statement, just to be clear, we're on the same page here. The insertion of the phrase, considering the extent and timing of additional adjustments, does that indicate that the Fed is now on hold until there's some clearer signal from inflation or jobs or the evolution of the economy along the baseline outlook?
So, yes,
Any update on XR? I'm gonna drop a video on XR later.
a broad range of estimates of neutral, and as we
Pretty much the same. Nothing really new.
determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments based on
XR.
the evolving outlook.
Let's take a look at the price. It's
That new language points out.
right now. It's at 27 zeros.
And also, I would note that.
It's at 27 zeros 34 right now. But you know the price is highly volatile right now.
And 107.
The price is very volatile for XR.
Fed funds rate is now within
Yeah.
the range of estimates of its neutral value, and we are well positioned to wait to see how the economy evolves.
But yeah, I'll drop an update on it later.
It seems
But
like
trying to see what Jerome Powell is doing.
with easing inflation and a fairly steady unemployment rate, seems like a pretty optimistic outlook for next year. What's given rise to that? Is this an early bet on AI? Is there some sense of improving productivity out there? What's driving that?
So a number of things are driving what's happening in the forecast. And I would say if you look broadly at outside forecasts, you do see a pickup in growth in many of those now too. So it is it's partly that consumer spending is held up. It's been resilient, and it to another degree it is.
Okay.
It is that, AI spending on data centers and related to AI has been holding up business.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's gonna. Yeah, I agree with you. Powell is gonna be gone in 2026. Late 2026, Powell is gonna be out of there, and that's when I think that's when the parabolic run is gonna happen.
From today's relatively low level of 1.7%. I mentioned that the S&P median is 1.7 for this year growth and 2.3 for next year. You actually, some of that is due to the shutdown. So you can take 0.2 out of 2026.
Yeah.
Put it in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's possibly what's gonna happen.
But overall, yes,
Yeah, we gotta wait for Powell to get out of there.
supportive.
Wait for him to get out of there, and that's when the market is gonna we're gonna see the real parabolic run.
So it looks like baseline for next year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for taking our questions here. You had previously described rate cuts in terms of risk management framework, and kind of following up on what Howard was asking. Is the risk management?
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, one year later. Yeah, I definitely believe that's what's gonna happen.
Sufficient insurance, I guess, against potential weaknesses.
Yeah, I definitely believe that's what's gonna happen. This cycle is gonna be about
So we're going to get
going to next spring and next summer.
in the January meeting, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that. And that will, the data that we get are going to factor into.
But we definitely gotta wait till Powell gets out of there.
If you go back, we held our policy rate at
Yeah, he's definitely not for crypto
more than
and blockchain.
because inflation was high.
He's definitely not for us.
Unemployment and the labor market was really solid at that point. So what happened is over last summer of
Yeah.
of 24, inflation came down and the labor market began to show real signs of weakness. And so we decided, as our framework tells us to do, that when the risks to the two goals become more equal, you should move from a stance that favors really dealing with one of them, in that case inflation, to a more balanced, more neutral setting. And so we did that. We did some cutting, and then we paused for a while to work our way through what was happening in the middle of the year. And then we resumed cuts in September. We cut now 3. We got a total of 175 basis points. And as I mentioned,
Okay, you said that the rate cut
where we're positioned
is
we're well positioned to wait and see
Rate cut
how the
is
economy evolves from here.
it's a signal that the economy is not doing well based on history.
A whole lot of a big increase in the growth numbers.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense.
An AI factor in there? What is going on through the dynamic of?
But AI is a big factor as well.
Thank you, sir.
So it is, the implication is obviously higher productivity. And some of that may be AI. It just also, I think, productivity has just been almost structurally higher for several years now. So if you start thinking of it,
Yeah,
as
we're definitely gonna.
you can sustain higher growth without more job creation. Of course, higher productivity is also what enables incomes to rise over long periods of time. So it's basically a good thing. But that's certainly the implication.
Because we're in December of 2025.
Thank you. Colby Smith of the New York Times. Today's decision was clearly very divided. It wasn't just the 2 official dissents against the cut, but there were also soft dissents from 4 others.
Trying to see how the market is reacting right now.
Reluctance from several people to support recent reductions suggests that there is a much higher bar for cuts in the near term. And what exactly does the committee need to see if things are well positioned right now to support a January reduction?
Sure. So let me just say, as I mentioned, and as I mentioned here before,
Okay, let's see here.
the situation is that our 2 goals are a bit intentional, right? So,
Okay, Bitcoin.
interestingly, everyone around the table at the FOMC.
Okay, it looked like Bitcoin and ETH just retraced in 1 hour. They just slightly retraced.
Softened and that there's further risk. Everyone agrees on that. where the difference is.
Check out Solana right quick. Solana's at 138. Solana's trading flat right now.
Where do you
Yeah, Solana and XRP is trading flat.
It's very unusual to have persistent tension between the two parts of the mandate, and when you do, this is what you see. And I think it's actually what you would expect to see, and we do see it. Meanwhile, the discussions we have are as good as any we've had in months.
Okay, let's see here.
Afternoon, officer. It's mine. Just filling up. Yours, huh? Don't see too many guys like it. Afternoon. Nice car. Where'd you get it? Afternoon. Nice car. Where'd you get it? Afternoon, officer. It's mine. Just filling up. Yours, huh? Don't see too many guys like you in $5 million rolls.
This $49 portable heater is disrupting the entire heating industry, and big brands are trying their hardest to make it illegal in the U.S. It's so...
Afternoon. Nice car. Where'd you get it? Afternoon, officer. It's mine. Just filling up. Yours, huh? Don't see too many guys like you in $5 million rolls.
On that particular evening, he was cruising the strip of Highway 19, window slightly down, scanning every car with the same intensity he used in felony searches. As his cruiser rolled past the gas station, Reddick slowed down, his eyes locked onto the dark luxury SUV parked at Pump 4. The officer's posture shifted instantly, hands tightening around the steering wheel, gaze narrowing at the driver standing beside the pump. The driver was Judge Nathaniel Briggs, age 53, a well-respected state judge known for his calm temperament and years of legal experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He wasn't in a courtroom. He wasn't wearing his robe. He was simply...
Yeah, the rate cut. Yeah, the rate cut is a it's a good sign. For
he had the same composed presence, straight posture, steady.
Trying to help us retail investors out.
As he tightened the cap on the fuel tank. Briggs didn't notice the patrol cruiser at first, not until Reddick turned sharply into the station and parked diagonally across two spots, blocking the SUV's front bumper. The sudden move made the judge glance up, his eyebrows raised slightly, not in fear, but in quiet confusion. Reddick stepped out of his car with the kind of confidence that suggested he believed he was already catching someone in the act. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't ask a question. He didn't even look at what Briggs was doing. He simply stared at the luxury SUV and shook his head slowly, as if something didn't sit right with him. "Sir, step away from the vehicle," Reddick called out, walking close. The man standing beside him, on downtown reviewing, closing the is stolen. Reddick circled the SUV a second time, tapping the roof with one hand as he walked. Because people don't just drive cars like this around here unless something's off. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't suspicion based on behavior. Scoffed. "Don't try to lecture me on procedure." The tone wasn't just disrespectful, it was mocking. The kind of voice used on attention, the slow circling movement of the officer. This didn't lower his phone. "This is a public place." Another blow to Reddick's authority, another moment caught on camera. The tension broke not through conflict, but through exposure.
You see,
everything was on video now, not just the gas station cameras, but body cam footage, witness phones, even a street corner surveillance cam pointed toward the pumps. The officers backed away, creating distance they should have kept from the start. With slow, deliberate movements, Judge Nathaniel Briggs...
Oh, okay, you said ETH will close around 3,700 today? Hey, that'll be nice. If ETH goes up to 3,700, that'll look a little bit good for alts. We'll see some alts go up a little bit. Yeah, that'll definitely be nice. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah. All I gotta say, going into 2026, we just have to make sure, we're in the right, make sure we're in the right positions. Make sure, we're holding the right cryptos. I'm telling you guys, DeFi, different DeFi projects is what's going to help lead this bull run. Yeah. Like XPR network, XR, especially the ISO compliant cryptos. Definitely keep a lookout on the ISO compliant cryptos. You said, can ETH reach BTC levels? Nah. No. You said metal blockchain, 3,500 a coin? Wow, that'll be insane. What do you think XPR be? XPR network, what do you think that would be at? If a metal blockchain goes to 3,500 a coin? Wow, that's pretty interesting. It's definitely going to be big in the future. Oh, wow. XPR, $30 a coin. Metal loan protocol, $5. Wow, those are some pretty bold price predictions. Probably, I'll say maybe in about 4 or 5 years that could be possible. In the next 4 or 5 years, something like that could be possible. We'll see. I'm just going to assume you're thinking like in the next like 5 years or something like that. Because the Metallicus, what they got going on, their whole ecosystem is they're doing something with DeFi that nobody else is doing. But like you can already like stake and loan. You can loan out like your XRP, your ADA, your Polygon, Solana. You can already like loan it out for DeFi, and they're doing it right on chain. Okay, we'll see a $1 XPR pretty soon. We'll see a $1 XPR. That'll be nice. For me, I could retire. A $1 XPR, I could retire, even at 50 cents, man. Let XPR get to 50 cents. I'm retiring, man. That'll be like some life-changing wealth right there. Yeah, XPR network. I'm already, I'm holding 1.3 million XPR network already. So, but my goal is to get up to 2 million XPR. But I'm getting closer. Especially for if we stay at the prices where we're at now for XPR network, if we stay like in the the 20s, 30s, 40s, that'll give me more time to get my 2 million XPR network. So yeah. Oh yeah. I feel that a lot of people still hasn't caught on the XPR network and Metallicus, because they're the only DeFi project with doing what they're doing with like on-chain identity, and you can already loan, and you can loan out other coins and stake right on chain. They got the Metal Pay app, Metal Pay. Then they got the Web Auth wallet. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey. Um. Bosnian Muslim. Yeah. Hey, you're right about that one. Yeah. That make perfect sense. Yeah. Both XPR and XR. Those are the two DeFi's that projects that they're doing stuff that nobody else is doing. In XR, they're doing the CBDCs on their network. And central banks, I guess, I think a couple of central banks is already using their network for XR. But no, like I said, most people's not catching on. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, everything is going to shift to Dexys and DeFi. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, XR for Asia, XPR for the West. Yeah. Yeah. But they're both decentralized though. They're both global. But, I think that's what the reason they're focused on, but they're both still global though. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about both projects. Yeah, I'm definitely excited. See what they're talking about. Let me see here. Yeah.
He had offered earlier, long before the situation escalated. He handed them to Jansen. Verify it now. Jansen scanned the documents. The details matched perfectly. The SUV wasn't stolen. There was never a report. There was never any reason to stop him. Jansen exhaled and gave the papers back. Everything's valid. Briggs didn't smile, didn't celebrate, didn't gloat. He simply said, "I know." Reddick avoided eye contact. His jaw twitched. "You're free to go." Briggs stared at him for a moment, then spoke with the same authority he used from the bench. "Officer Reddick, I advise you to document your actions tonight carefully. You'll be asked to repeat them under oath." The officer's shoulders slumped. Briggs stepped into his SUV and closed the door. The engine hummed to life. The crowd watched silently as he drove away. A smooth departure that contrasted sharply with the chaos left.
Okay, let's see here. Got 11 people in.
at quite levels that are quite considerable. Quite levels that are quite low.
Let's see what's going to happen.
So you
I'm trying to think.
That's a lot of what like that. And that's a lot of what's been going on. I mean, you saw a big move, toward the end of last year, which was not to do with us. It was to do with other developments.
Well, you just mentioned that the public is expecting you to get back to 2%, and Americans overwhelmingly are citing high prices, inflation as their number one concern. Can you explain to them why you're prioritizing the labor market, which seems relatively stable to most people, instead of their number one concern, inflation?
So we have a network of contacts in the U.S. economy, which is really unmatched if you go through the 12 reserve banks. So we hear loud and clear how people are experiencing really costs. It's really high costs. And a lot of that is not the current rate of inflation. A lot of that is just embedded higher cost due to higher inflation in 2022 and 23.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. And so the best thing we can do.
Yeah, so I think right now we're still in accumulation. Well, at least when it still comes to to the altcoins, most of the altcoins, we're still in accumulation. This is the perfect time. I'll say to keep loading up if you can, because come 2026, man, this is when I think 2026 is going to be our year. I know a lot of people months ago, got shaken out of the market, but 2026,
and strong wages, so that people are earning enough money and feeling economically healthy again.
Hi, Victoria Guida with Fomc. Just to follow up on that, I mean, this is now the third time that you've cut this year and inflation is around 3%. So is the message that you're sort of trying to send with that you're okay with where inflation is for now, as long as people understand that at some point you still want to get back to 2% because inflation is relatively stable where it is?
Everyone should understand, and the surveys show that they do, that we're committed to 2% inflation, and we will deliver 2% inflation. But it's a complicated, unusual, difficult situation where the labor market is also under pressure, where job creation may actually be negative. Now, supply of workers has also gone way down, so the unemployment rate hasn't moved that much, but it's a labor market that seems to have significant downside risks. People care a lot about that. That's their jobs. That's their ability, if they get laid off or if they're entering the labor force, to find work. So that's really important to people. The story with inflation, and we're well aware that this is a story at this point, is that if you get away from tariffs, inflation is in the low twos, right? So it's really tariffs that's causing most of the inflation to overshoot. And we do think of those as likely to, in the current situation, as likely to be a one-time price increase. Our job is to make sure that it is, and we will do that job. But right now, you've got to.
Yeah, Powell is speaking right now.
To both sides, there's no risk-free path. If it was just inflation and the labor market was just really strong, and then rates would be higher, as they were for more than a year. We didn't have to worry about inflation. Sorry about the labor market, because the labor market unemployment was very low. If you remember, when inflation was very high, there was a labor shortage, so we could focus entirely on inflation. Now it's different. We actually have risks to both, and I think we're doing the best we can for people. They also care about their jobs. They do care about affordability. And the best thing we can do there is both to support economic activity, but also, make sure that when tariff inflation goes down and disappears, inflation lands around 2%.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth Schulze with ABC News. Just to follow up, you keep talking about job growth being negative. Why do you think job growth is so much worse than some of the official data? Why do you think job growth is, to follow up on your comments about job growth, why is it so much worse than the official data is suggesting?
Yeah, he was bringing up tariffs.
We know it's
Yeah, the tariffs, that didn't help us either. The tariffs, that definitely didn't help us.
Estimate job growth in real time. They don't count everybody. They have a survey, and there's been something of a systematic overcount. And so,
Alrighty, let's see where Bitcoin is right now.
So the last time they corrected it, we thought the correction would be 800,000 or 900,000. I'll get the numbers exactly right, and that's exactly what happened. So we think that has persisted.
Yeah, Bitcoin and ETH is trading more flat right now. Bitcoin and ETH, they're trading flat.
Continuing, and it will be corrected. I don't have the exact month in my head right now, but and that's just I think forecasters generally understand that. So and we think it's about 60,000 a month. So 40,000 jobs could be negative 20, and that could be wrong by 10 or 20 in either direction. But in any case,
Hey, thanks guys for hitting the like button. It really helps the channel,
creation in a way that's
and it helps the content get out there.
supply has also come down quite sharply. So if you had a world where there's just no growth in workers, and you really don't need a lot of jobs to have full employment, some people argue that's what we're looking at. But I think a world where job creation is negative, I just think we need to watch that situation very carefully and be in a position where we're not down on job creation with our policy.
When we're talking about supply, we have seen major American employers like Amazon cite AI in job cuts. How much right now are you factoring in?
Thanks
AI?
again, guys, for hitting the like button. So yeah, man, that's where we're at. Powell, he's just, like I said, he's not for us.
But for example, if you look at, you can't miss the big announcements of layoffs, and also companies saying that they're not going to hire anybody for a long time, and they cite AI. That's all clearly happening. At the same time, people are not filing for unemployment insurance. And,
7 minutes
since
into
job
the live
creation,
stream.
Job finding rates are extremely low. If there were big numbers of layoffs, you'd expect the continuing claims to go up, and you expect new claims to go up, and really haven't much. So it's a little bit curious. The longer term, though, the question is, what are we going to see here? And we don't know, but it may be that in past technology, really significant technology in innovation eras, you have seen some jobs destroyed and other jobs made. Ultimately, what's happened for a couple hundred years is when you get through all that, you have higher productivity, and you have new jobs, and there are enough jobs for people. This may be different. It's every time we have a wave of technology, we think, oh, this could put a lot of people out of work. What are they going to do? In the past, there's always been more work and higher productivity, and incomes have risen. What will happen here, we're going to have to see. But right now is such early days. We don't think we see much. It's certainly not showing up in layoffs yet.
Thank you, Chair. And the current Bloomberg News, given the breadth of views on the policy committee, why is there such a division of views between the
policy what?
On the committee?
Thank you.
Why is there such a division of views between the presidents and the board members?
It's not so stark as that. There's depth. The views are more varied in each group as well. There's some of that, but I would say they're also governors and
That's him talking in the background. But
both sides in both groups. I wouldn't put too much in that.
Okay, and just to follow up, please, given your growth upgrade, how would you factor in, or what would be the economic impact if the Supreme Court is to strike down the tariffs that they're currently hearing, please, in terms of growth and inflation? Thank you.
I really don't know. It would depend. It would depend on a whole bunch of things we don't know. So I can't really help you there.
Christine. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Powell. Christine Romans, NBC News. I wanted to ask you about how the higher income households are really driving spending right now. They're backed by home equity and stock market wealth. The lower income consumers are really struggling with the accumulation of 5 years now of rising prices. It's price levels, not really the inflation rate, holding some of these families back. How sustainable is this so-called K-shaped economy? And what are the Fed's thoughts on whether that's a risk going forward?
So we do, through our vast network of contacts and just through our observation of what's going on in the economy, we hear about this a lot. If you listen to the earnings reports for consumer-facing companies that tend to deal with low and moderate income people, they'll all say that we're seeing people, tightening their belts, changing products that they buy, buying less, and that sort of thing. And so it's clearly also clearly a thing that, asset values, housing values, and securities values are high, and they tend to be held by people who are the higher income growth. So, as how sustainable it is, I don't know. Most of the consumption does happen by people who have more needs.
All right, so as you can see, this is a different Fed meeting for sure. Many people thought this was going to be a hawkish cut. This, I think, changes the markets quite a bit in terms of how things go. We just did the poll. I don't know if we still have that up there, guys, for some of you. But it was about 80%, holding at 36% on dovish, neutral at 44%. Hawkish very, very slow on the poll out there with over 1,000 votes in. And I think when you look at where the market is right now, Bitcoin holding now over 94K as we start to end the Fed meeting, ETH, of course, approaching what could be.
Yeah, so I guess that's a wrap. That was the Fed meeting. Powell just talking about the same old, same old. I think he gave us we got a small rate cut, but it is what it is. We got to wait. We got to wait to see how December turns out. Yeah.
Baseline for ample reserves. Remember, the Fed works off of a reserve system where they need to inject capital in there just to maintain it, right? But they're doing $40 billion currently to deal with liquidity issues and to get ahead of April. So if that's happening now, and remember what he said in the meeting right there, is that we're going to do this now, and we're probably going to follow this.
Hey, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me over on Patreon as well.
You want to call it soft QE, or what do you want to call it, a gradual QE? They are in a print mode. This is above the 25 billion monthly balance sheet expansion that is needed. That in itself is pure quantitative easing. Now, does this mean that we're going to see a market explode out of this? I think people will be very interested in how this goes into the January cut potential. I want to go back over to Poly Market. I want to see if I've got the Poly Market up and just see what happened with this. Let's go to the Fed rate cut, Fed hearing decision in January. So let's zoom out on that right now. So right now we are sitting still up on this, maybe because of this. I anticipate this is going to reverse. My anticipation right now, depending on how this printing occurs, and also the job numbers, because they're still concerned about the job, and they should be still concerned about the job numbers, because for you guys to see. This, of course, is happening right now as Poly Market spiked right there on up to 81% on the no change. I'm thinking this may be the same situation that happened the last time Powell gave a quarter point, because remember, he was very hawkish going into the December rate cut. Many people thought we would not get a December rate cut. If we, in fact, are seeing jobs curve slightly, then maybe that slows it down. But you mentioned one thing, because we're pointed out
43. But hey, I guess that's going to be my time. Hey, I want to thank everybody for hitting the like button. I'm going to get out of here. That's what happened with the market today. We're going to see how the market reacts later on today and tonight. Later on today and tonight, we're going to see how the market reacts to the Fed meeting. Yeah. I guess the only thing we can keep doing now is just keep stacking our positions, whenever we can. DCA. That's the only thing we can keep doing. As for everybody who's still holding crypto, hey, if you're not holding crypto right now, hey, don't worry about it. Just wait for the FOMO to come in. Wait till 2026. And, when FOMO in, once our parabolic run starts,
What I do in there is we drop multiple analysis each week. Never makes it here to the show. We don't really go into all that. But the research is built on, and we put it out in the market there. So you guys can do more insights over there. Of course, follow me on X. I'm Paul Barron. I leave my DMs open for you guys. If you have questions, drop them in there. We'll catch you next time right here on the Paul Barron Show.
But yeah, that concludes the meeting. Honestly, I think it was more neutral. He was bringing up tariffs, blaming things on the tariff, but Donald Trump calls it tariffs. Honestly, like the whole tariff thing, that didn't help our economy. That put a dent in our economy, the tariffs. Oh well. But as far as crypto is concerned, okay, Bitcoin is up to, okay, Bitcoin just hit 94,000. Okay. Bitcoin is back up to 94,000. We got Ethereum at 34. So we're going to see how the market reacts to this FOMC. Maybe the crypto market could be like, what the hell with Powell? Just go ahead and pump, without confirmation. Powell's been doing this for over a year. He's been doing the same thing for the last couple of years, not really giving us nothing to go on. He's been doing this for the last couple of years. But yeah. But his time is coming. He'll be out of there in 2026. Yeah. Other than that, man. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the channel. I'm going to get out of here. And thanks whoever came in and hit the like button. And I'll catch you guys next time. All right. Peace.